Welcome back, everybody, to Pooley Mag TV, the raw, unedited, unscripted NUFC fan channel where everybody's got an opinion and nobody's opinion's wrong. So today we're going to discuss a little bit of transfer news. What's going on in the newspapers, what's going on social media, what's going on in the media in general, and all the other bullshit that's going about Newcastle United. Because as we know, there's a lot of crap that gets posted about Newcastle United on a daily basis. We seem to be the most posted club regarding made-up stories around transfers and things like that. So I just want to bring you a few that could be legitimate, actually, and a couple that probably aren't. So we'll start with the couple that probably aren't, and that is, not probably, it's not going to happen, is it? Bruno Guimaraes to Manchester United. When is this dross and rot ever going to stop? Bruno Guimaraes is not going to Manchester United. If he did, I will eat my hat, and it's just a sideward step, well, a backward step anyway. Why would Bruno Guimaraes want to go to Manchester United? Why would he? It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever to go to a club that are 15th in the Premier League, that are struggling under their new manager, and to leave a club that's just won a trophy, that's going to get into the Champions League again, and a team that's on the up. Why would you want to leave them to go, to Manchester United? Manchester United are on that downward spiral. They won't be in it forever, but by then Bruno will probably be about 30, and he probably have moved on anyway to another club. He is not going to Manchester United. Let's just get that one out the way. Isaac up for sale again. Liverpool are going to get Isaac. That's not happening either. I'm not even going to go into that one because I made a bit of a longer video on that the other day, and I just don't think that's going to happen either. So the three that I think could happen. Number one, Dean Howson from Bournemouth. So Dean Howson signed from Roma, and he's been phenomenal, hasn't he? He's only 20 years of age. He's a young centre-back, which is exactly what we need. Fabian Schär and Dan Burn are really good defenders, but they're coming to the end of the career. Let's make no doubt about that. Especially Fabian Schär, who I think will be 34 next year. He's had a really good resurgence at the back end of this season, but for quite bits of this season, he's shown his age. And Fabian Schär would be a really good squad player, I think, for next season, playing the Cups, play when we've got injuries or suspensions, or when somebody needs a rest, but to be starting every game like he has this season, I just don't think that's going to happen. So Dean Howson, how much will Dean Howson cost? Well, this day and age, he probably cost about 60 million. But if we were willing to pay 70 million for Mark Gay, I think Dean Howson is absolutely worlds ahead of Mark Gay. I really do. Mark Gay's got a rick in him. I think Steve Parish bummed up a high heaven, but I don't think Mark Gay's anywhere near worth 40, 50 million, never mind the 70 million that was, projected last summer. So I think Dean Howson would be a really, really good fit for Newcastle. He's a young, upcoming centre-back, had a quality season at Roma, he's had a quality season at Bournemouth, and I think Dean Howson really has got to be up there as one of our top picks in the summer. We do need new centre-backs, we do need a new back four, we need bolstering in some positions, and we need actual new starters and all, and I think Dean Howson would come in really, really good for that. So the second one is the Strasbourg striker, Emmanuel Amiga, I think it is. What does everybody think of him? I think he scored 13 goals in 25 appearances or something like that for Strasbourg this season. Now, Strasbourg aren't exactly the most prolific club in the world, are they? And if he can score that, I think I've looked on his Wikipedia stats and he scored 23 and 50-odd league games for Strasbourg over the last 2 seasons. So that's a good return. We're not going to go in and get a world-class striker, I don't think, because what world-class striker is going to want to sit on the bench? They're not. They're not getting the game over Alexander Isak, or if they ever did, Isak's certainly not going to sit on the bench, is he? So one of them's going to be upset. So we need a young striker in there who's a little bit more polished than Willa Sula. I think Willa Sula needs to go out on loan. I really do, and I think Willa Sula will go out on loan. Just like I think Lewis Miley will go out on loan and come back the season after stronger and better players. But the Amiga, Emmanuel Amiga, I think that's how you pronounce it. It looks a decent player. Now, I'm not going to claim to be a Strasbourg expert, because I'm clearly not. I'm not a French league expert either. But I think his goal tally adds up to the type of player that we want who can come in off the bench, or if Isaac needs a rest, and we're not relying on a really raw Willisula or a completely shot Callum Wilson. So we do need that second striker backup. Jonathan David's also been touted. Now, I don't think Jonathan David would want to sit on the bench. He's playing for Lille every week, he's scoring goals every week, and I think the likes of Barcelona and Madrid and things like that are going to be looking at the likes of Jonathan David as a backup option. Now, I don't think he's going to want to sit on Newcastle's bench, if I'm totally honest, but I think Emmanuel Omega probably would. I think he would look at this as a real step up from Strasbourg, and I think he'd want to try and fight for his place for us, and I think he'll come good in some of the cups, and I think he'll come good in the league too. He's a little bit further ahead than Willisula, and I think Emmanuel Omega could do really well. Now, the last one I'm going to bring to you today is Salamakers. Now, Salamakers has played for, he's playing for Roma at the minute, and he's played for AC Milan. I watched him with AC Milan, and he just did not look any good at all. But for Roma, he's played in about 7 different positions this season, and he's looked really well. The couple of times I've seen him, and he's getting really good reports in the media, and he's getting really good stats, and he's played in a lot of positions. Now, we do need utility players. Every club needs a utility player, Darren Ferguson type player, a James Milner type player. The ones who go unnoticed a little bit until you take them out the team. And that's what Salamakers is. Now, it depends on the money for Salamakers, for me. Like I say, I watched him quite extensively for AC Milan. I had a little bit of a stint the other year where I was watching a lot of Serie A football, and he just didn't seem to cut the mustard for me. But, that shirt weighs heavy on a lot of players. AC Milan are a massive club. They're a little bit like Manchester United, a little bit of a fading power, but still a massive club, and a young player going there, I can understand why that shirt weighs heavy. Where Roma aren't as big, and I think he's found his form and he's found his feet at Roma. So depending on the price tag, Salamakers could be a really good option for us. So let me know what you think down below about them 3 people that I brought here. I know we linked heavily with other players like Mark Gay and Matheus Cunha, but I've already mentioned Matheus Cunha quite a lot on this channel, and I don't really want to go into the Mark Gay saga any further than what we had to endure last summer. So hit like, hit subscribe, comment down below on the 3 people that I've mentioned today. Would you have any of them, or would you want alternatives? Hit like, hit share, hit subscribe, and keep it black and white, and keep it Pooley Mag TV. Over and out, folks.